My name is Vanessa Mulvey, and I'm coming to you from Restore Meditation at Home. I'm in my home studio. I come to you every Friday at 11 a.m. during this social isolation, social distancing time to give you a break from all the noise, from all of the thoughts, and bring you back into the moment. I think we're all stronger when we are in the moment and speaking our voices, and mindfulness is a great way to come into the moment, to be stronger and be heard. So with that in mind, let's start today with some breaths, and then I'll tell you about what we're going to do today. So I'd like you to, I'm going to be standing most of today, to take a comfortable position. It can be standing, it can be sitting, whatever is good for you. And let your eyes close and feel your breath. You may feel it through the movement in your chest. That's your ribs moving. That can be felt against your clothing. You may feel it in your abdomen all around, again through your clothes moving or the movement of skin. Or you may feel it as the air moves through your nasal passages or your mouth. Just notice your breath. Let's take a deeper breath than normal. Fill up a little more, and then slowly exhale. You have control of your breath at any time, in any situation. And it is a way to bring yourself back into the moment. So as you feel your breath, would you also notice your arms, where they are in relationship to breathing? I'm noticing how my arms can ride on the movement of that breath, particularly in my shoulders. Would you add that your awareness of your head floating at the top of your spine, supported. And finally, notice your legs. Add that to your awareness. And notice anything else that comes into your awareness in this moment. Can be tension, can be stress, can be thoughts. And would you softly open your eyes so that you can see colors and shapes in your space? And then come back to the screen and notice that you can see those colors and shapes as you see the screen. This broad awareness helps to relax the body, calm the nervous system, and bring us back into the moment. There's lots of ways in. So today we're going to start with mindful movement, and I thought we'd start talking about what mindfulness is. I looked up a couple definitions, and I saw that mindfulness can be defined as the quality or state of being conscious or aware of something. So in the mindfulness we're talking about, we want to be aware of our body. My favorite definition of mindfulness is Jon Kabat-Zinn's: awareness that arises through paying attention on purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally. So we become observers, and that's my favorite. So there are many ways that we can be aware. And what we're going to do today is we're going to use those different types of awareness to be aware of movement. We're going to take the body through some joint mobilization. And we're going to pay attention in different ways. In my body mapping teaching, we talk about 4 types of awareness primarily that inform us as we perform. And I use these throughout everything I do. There is the seeing with our eyes, the hearing with our ears, the tactile sense through our skin, And the fourth one is the kinesthetic sense, the sense of movement. So let's look at all of those as we do our first motion. Our first motion is going to be mainly wrist. So what you're going to do is you're going to interlace your fingers like this, have your palms touching right in front of you, let your arms be comfortable. And we're going to start by rotating the wrists. And as you rotate them, I would like you to notice what they look like. The shapes, the shape of your fingers and hands, the shapes that you're creating through motion. Now let's notice through the tactile sense, and that's going to be how your fingers and hands are touching each other. So where there's contact and where there's space. For instance, you might feel the contact of your fingers and of the base of your hand, and you might also feel space between your palms. So you're seeing and you're using the tactile sense. Now let's close our eyes and let's see if you can hear anything. Some people may feel joint pops, or you might feel skin rubbing. So close your eyes and be quiet and observe. Can bring your eyes back into the space. And then the fourth way we can pay attention is through the kinesthetic sense. Let's reverse our directions. Kinesthetic sense is your sense of movement. And you can sense it from the bones in the joints, and you sense it on the inside. So again, if we close our eyes, you could describe how the movement is happening. You might start feeling it in your forearms. Some motion down there that's causing the hands and wrists to make this motion. You might notice some changes in your finger contact that you didn't notice before. So that's the kinesthetic sense. You can bring your eyes back into the room and let your hands settle in front of you. So often what happens is we see and we lose sense of anything else. So today I'm going to bring you through the different senses, and what you work on is being able to pay attention to them simultaneously. It takes time, but with attention it will come and you'll start to notice. So let's do something different with our hands, and I'm going to have you, don't do it yet, but we're going to nod our hands as if they're saying yes. And I'd like you, before you make that motion, to close your eyes and nod your hands as if they're saying yes. And notice that you can describe the movements without seeing it. That's your kinesthetic sense. Pause your hands and nod them as if they're saying no. Again, notice what you can sense without seeing. And then bring your eyes back into awareness and notice your hands nodding no. Let's let that go. All right, so that was hand and wrist. Now we're going to go to the elbow. So the elbow is this joint where our forearm meets our upper arm. We have two main motions. We can do our bending and unbending, and we can do our palm up to palm down. All right, so for this motion, if this is comfortable for you, you're going to bring your elbows out to the sides. If this is not comfortable, you can certainly do this with your arms hanging down. Always listen to your body. All right, so we're going to trace circles with our forearms. This is at the elbow joint. If you can't see yourself, look over and see the motion. Notice if it's different on the different sides. Pause, reverse your direction. Close your eyes. See what it feels like in your body. Where do you feel the motion taking place? Where are the muscles working? They're far beyond the elbow. Maybe you're starting to feel some work in your shoulders now. And then pause. We're not going to do that for too long. Let your arms come down. All right, so we might have heard some pops and clicks in that. Always listen to your body. Okay. So we're going to now move up to our upper arm or to the shoulder joint. And the first thing I want you to do is just rotate your your hand going to the back, which is happening at that shoulder joint, and then turn your palm facing away. So we're flipping our palm 360 degrees. That's happening at your shoulder joint. Let's take it a little further. Now we're going to take our hand up in front of us, overhead as best you can do, keeping it smooth. So now we've taken a motion that was just at the shoulder joint, and we're starting to get motion through the upper torso. Slowly pause, reverse your direction. Let's close the eyes and feel what it feels like. Notice that you probably have a clearer picture of where things are happening as you do this with your eyes closed. So what do you hear? And then what motions do you feel? Let that go. Keep your eyes closed. Let's go to the other side. So we're going to start, you're keeping your eyes closed, with rotating the palm 360 degrees by moving at our shoulder joint. Can you feel it? Inside, can you feel changes because your arm is moving in relationship to your clothing? Those are your tactile sense. And can you hear anything? So let's look, open our eyes, let's look at that arm that you're rotating and just notice what the motion looks like. Let that go. And then let's take that arm, this is the opposite arm, into a circular pattern, noticing how it feels and noticing how the movement is resonating in the body. Let's reverse directions. Does this side different than the other? It may be. Our rights and lefts are not always equal because of life. And let that go. So now let's take it to a broad awareness. Let's notice the arms, which we started at the beginning, but notice them now. Do you have more clarity in how they feel? Do you have a better sense of where the joints are? Do you feel any more space? I'm starting to feel space up here in between my arms and my ribs, which is a good thing for breathing. Okay, so we're going to continue a little bit more with arms, and we're going to do some shoulder rolls. And I like the way one of my parkour teachers described this. We're going to take it to whatever extreme is good for you. It's going to be different for you than me. So first direction is floating the shoulders up towards your ears. Then we're going to move the shoulder blades back towards the spine, and then we're going to come down, and then we're going to pull the shoulder blades away from the spine in this circular pattern. So we're up towards our ears, shoulder blades back towards our spine. And one thing I love about this is, look at that, my palms are facing up, down, and as I come forward, pulling the shoulder blades away from the spine, my arm has magically rotated, so my palm is facing away. It's almost like magic, because I'm not doing it. So how are you paying attention to this? Can you make it slow and smooth? Maybe you're seeing yourself. Maybe you're feeling the motion, even with your eyes open. Maybe you're hearing pops and clicks. And let's reverse the direction. So we're going to come back to the top. We're going to pull the shoulder blades away from the spine, down, and around towards the spine. And again, for me, I'm thinking about that rotation of my arm that's happening as a byproduct. Okay, let that go. Again, tune into those arms. Our arms are more than just this that hangs off the body. Our arms go internal. So just notice how they feel. Notice the shape of your palm. I'm noticing more curve in my palm. So there's hands, wrists, elbows, shoulders, shoulder blades. We got collarbones in there. Awesome. Okay. So now we're going to go to the head and the upper spine, and we're going to start by just rotating our head to the left, back to center, and to the right. Can you do it slowly and smoothly? Don't force it. As if you're doing a slow motion no. Check in to make sure you're breathing. Notice how it feels. Notice how your line of sight is traveling around the room because of this motion. And then, would you close your eyes? And would you notice how it feels on the inside? Pause. With your eyes still closed, can you look down toward the ground and then up towards the sky? And you're not looking because your eyes are closed, but you're feeling. You're noticing where the motion is taking place, muscles moving. Breathe. Would you let your eyes open and notice how this motion takes the eyes on a trip to the ceiling and then down to the floor slowly? Can you slow it down to half the speed? And does that allow you to pay attention to more? One more pass. Come back to the middle. And now notice. So that was a larger motion of the head and spine. Let's take it to a smaller motion. I want you to pretend like you have a magic marker on the tip of your nose, and I'd like you to draw some circles in front of you, as if there was a nice piece of paper and you're drawing circles. You're kind of like a bobblehead, a fixed bobblehead. Notice how you're seeing different parts of the space. Be sure to be breathing. Let's reverse directions and let's close your eyes if you are comfortable with that. What do you feel? And maybe you hear some pops and clicks. That's fine. If it hurts, you're going too far. If that still hurts, then just let your head float there and imagine the motion. So things you can notice is how far down your spine you feel motion, where in the tissue in your upper spine and in your head do you feel motion, and then let that go. All right, so we've done arms, we've done head and upper spine. Now we're going to take the spine a little bit further down to the base of our ribs. I want you to keep everything below that fixed, and I'd like you to trace some circles with your ribs. You do have to brace a little in the lower body. Just let it be smooth and slow. Notice how your arms change distance from the floor as you do it. Breathe and reverse your circle. Actually, it's probably more of an oval. Now let's close your eyes if you're comfortable. What do you feel new without your eyes? One more circle. Pause. Don't open your eyes yet. And just notice what you sense in your rib area all the way up. Is there more clarity? Let your eyes open. Did you hear anything? Did you feel the tactile sense because you were moving in relationship to your clothing? All ways that we can be mindful in the moment. Okay, we're now going to move down to the lower part of the spine, the place where our spine and pelvis meets, connection from the lower body to the upper body, and we're going to trace some circles with our pelvis. And I'm going to move back a little bit, I'm allowing my knees to be soft, a little bit bent, responding. So now I'm doing that big oval shape in my pelvis. Slowly. Are you breathing? Where do you feel movement? Pause and let's reverse directions. You may find in any of these motions, one direction or one arm is easier than the other. Just notice, let one side teach the other. Breathe. Let's close the eyes. Notice what you feel, particularly in the lower spine and the pelvis. I'm feeling lots of motion at my hip joints. And I'm even noticing how my feet are changing the way they relate to the ground. Make your circle smaller. And again, you can open your eyes. It's the same motion, just a smaller circumference. Can you make it smaller still? How about half the distance again, until it's a very small micro movement. And come to stillness. What is the body feeling like? Maybe from the hip joints up, maybe you feel a difference in your legs, in your feet. How are you breathing? Has that changed? I'm feeling more ease in my breath. I'm definitely feeling more responsiveness in my lower torso for breathing. All good. Okay. So now we're going to take the spine on a little more spiraling. Again, be careful around you because we're going to be doing some spirals. You're going to have your feet about shoulder distance apart, so a little wider, and let your knees be soft. And I'd like you to twist to look over your shoulder. Notice how far you can go behind you in your sight. You can let your arms fly free and breathe. Go slowly. And how about let's close the eyes. And notice where you feel it. You should get a nice float in your arms. Breathe. Let's slow the motion down a little bit, make it a little smaller. You can bring your eyes back into your space. Do you feel your arms hitting the body when you reach the end of your range of motion? There's your tactile sense. And then you could even go further. What do you feel hitting your body? Is it the palm? Is it the side of the thumb? What? Let's make it a little smaller. Notice what you hear. You can hear your hands hitting your body. You might hear some movement in the muscles, pops and clicks, smaller still. And then come to standing. Check in on your breath. Check in on the relationship of your arms to your ribs and your torso. Check on where your head is. And then check in where your feet are. Do you feel the weight in your feet? Hopefully you do, because there's your connection to the ground. All right, we've gone through the whole torso and the arms. So now we're going to take it into the hip joints. This is, again, the connection of the torso with the legs, largest joint in our body. So the first thing I want you to do is simply raise a heel off the ground and place it back down. If you place your hands on the side of your body, you're going to feel the bone, the femur moving. Can you do it slowly? And can your placing it back on the ground be the same effort level as lifting it up? Same speed. Switch legs. Does this leg feel different? Look for the tactile sense under your hands, maybe in relationship to your pants. Let that go. Let your arms hang, and if now you need to use a wall or a chair, please do, because we're going to be lifting the leg off the ground. So you're going to lift the knee up in front of you. You're going to bring it out to the side, extend it, bring it behind you, and come forward. If you can do it without putting your foot on the floor, go for it. Great balance work. So this is rotation at your hip joints. taking a little more effort. Let's go in the opposite direction. Bring it forward, down and back. Can you slow it down? And that might take a wall to give you support. And if you're interested, do use a wall or a chair and close your eyes and notice the motions. You're using muscles in your legs and your torso for this motion. Do one more pass, and then still holding onto the wall, place that foot down on the floor and notice if the side you've just rotated feels different than the other side. Notice if your contact with the ground feels different. You can open your eyes again. So by getting the eyes out of the picture for just a little bit, we're able to tune more into that kinesthetic sense. Our visual sense is strong and often takes over for the kinesthetic, even the tactile. All right, so we are going to the other leg now. So you're going to first lift your knee in front of you, out to the side, straighten it behind you, and come around. So we're doing circles at the hip joints. Hip joints are our power joints. Can you slow it down a little bit? One more going back, and then we're going to pause and we're going to reverse our direction. Come forward. Breathe. Okay, let's take it with eyes closed. I'd like you to use support so that nobody falls on the ground. The point of this is to pay attention, not to get hurt. So close your eyes and notice if this side feels different. It might feel more free, it might feel less free, it might even hurt. Be mindful. Let's make the motion smaller. Still using the wall. How about even smaller? Notice what you can still feel. It's very vivid when we've got those eyes closed. Let's place that foot on the ground. You can notice how you feel. Notice what your sense of the body is like. Check in on the upper body. Check in on the feet. And then open your eyes and notice what your vision is like. People find that their vision gets wider, gets softer, gets more detail, because what we're doing is we're releasing tension. Mindfulness is a way to release tension. Okay, so hip joints. Now we need to go to the next joint of the legs, and that is the knee joint, another of my favorites. So for this motion, you're going to bend and you're going to place your hands on the front of your knees, have your feet and knees together. I'll back up a little bit. And we're going to trace some circles with our knees, more like an oval. We're breathing. Okay, what I love about this motion is all of the movement that happens in my feet. So while I'm thinking about tracing ovals with my knees, I'm noticing some really cool flexibility and movement in my feet. I'm allowing my feet to be supple. Let's pause and let's reverse directions. Breathing. I'm also getting motion in my hip joints, but I like to go to my feet. All right, one more circle, and then let's let it pass. Let's stand up. Now, how do your knees feel? Are you more aware of them? You can change the size of those circles, you can change the speed, and pay attention. All right, and now we're to the ankle and foot joint. So again, if you need a wall, please use that. But you're gonna lift one leg up in front of you. I'll get mine up a little higher. And you're gonna trace circles with your foot and ankle. Yeah, I need a little support here. So you're drawing circles with your toes. And reverse your circle. Lots of motion going on in those 26 foot bones. Pause, place that foot down. Let's go to the other side. So leg up, circles at the ankle and with the foot bones. Okay, we didn't do this, but let's now use the support of a wall or a chair. Close your eyes and feel it. Notice changes in relationship to clothing, reverse your direction. Notice all of the movement. You're probably feeling movement all the way up to your knee, if not into your thigh. Pause, bring that foot down. Take a walk around and notice how the body feels. Notice how your movement is. Do you move easier across the floor? You can tell that inside using the kinesthetic sense. You can use your tactile sense as your foot rolls across the ground. You can use your visual sense that your eyes are just staying on an even plane as you do that. So we've done some major joint mobilization. Now let's take it one step further. Note any changes in your body. You can take any of those motions into virtually any moment. And if you're in front of a Zoom screen, you can take a smaller motion. You can do your circles on the ground with the ankle and foot. If you're not in front of a screen, you can do any of the things we've done. So now, let's reach our arms up in the sky, come up onto our tippy toes, making ourselves as tall as possible, and then we're going to go down to whatever level's comfortable and make ourselves small as possible. Let's go back to being tall, coming up onto the toes, and then small down into a squat. Tall. If you can do it with your eyes closed, go ahead and do it. Notice how your whole body is involved. Can you do it slower? Slow motion, stretch up, and slow motion, come down into a squat, into a little ball. Slow motion, stretch up, and exhale as you come down into a little ball. And then let's come back to standing. So notice how you feel. You probably got a little winded. That was a little more motion, a little more exertion, getting big and small. But you took all your joints through that. And the more we can keep moving, the better it is for our whole body, the better it is for our breathing, the better it is for us standing strong whenever we need to face adversity. And mindfulness can get you out of your head, can bring you into that moment. Being aware, on purpose, not non-judgmentally. So we like to close these sessions with a little mindfulness meditation, and we are going to do that today. So I'd like to invite you to come into a sitting posture, or you may stand, or you may lie down, whatever's comfortable for you. And make yourself comfortable. Allow your eyes to close, allow your arms to rest somewhere on your body. And just breathe. Feel the movement of air through your nose or mouth, in and out. And if you like, you can even say inhale as you inhale in your mind, and exhale as you exhale. Maybe your heart's beating a little bit quicker from getting tall to small. So add to your awareness of the breath, the feeling of your head floating at the top of your body. It's suspended and supported. You can trace some circles with the tip of your nose like we did. And just notice the quality of that motion and notice your breath. So you can let your head just float now, no more circles. Now add that awareness of your clothing to your body. how your clothing feels today. Scratchy or smooth, soft, places it's not touching your body. And still feeling your breath and your head floating. And let's add to that any sounds in your space. Can be from outside your living space, in the next room. Just notice. If you're lucky, you might be hearing birds. As you feel your breath and notice your clothing. And then would you softly open your eyes so they just take in the colors and textures in front of you. Let your eyes come to the screen, feeling your breath, feeling your clothing, hearing the sounds, and now seeing the space. You're doing it all together. You can do this with practice. It just takes reminding, it takes mindfulness. And I promise you, if you add this into your day, you'll be calmer, less fatigued. You will move better. I want to thank you for coming today. I hope that your week was okay. I hope that the coming week will be better for everyone. I'm thinking of all of you. Join me next Friday at 11 a.m. right here, and we'll explore something new. I'm thinking to do another movement session like we did today, more on the floor, thinking about spirals in motion. So thank you. Have a good week. Stand up, speak your voice, and take care of yourself. May you be happy, may you be healthy, and may you be restored.